Well, everyone, welcome to Gundam Explained podcast episode 46. You know what? Like I say, I try to have things go perfectly. And, okay, are they? Okay. Yeah, I try to have things go perfectly, and we're trying to figure out the best software for the video chatting. And I messed it up, but I think we're good now. Now, I heard someone say I'm not hearing a thing.
Well, you know what they say is great is the enemy of good. And right now, we're shooting for great.
Yeah, definitely. But no, I just want to make sure everything is up. If everyone can hear us, it looks good on our end. Okay, Robert saying he can hear great. All right, let's get started. Everyone's in the house. We got Robert, we got G Norwood, Ian. Good to see you, Alan Mitchell, Shield Maiden Sayla, and Midnight Hatter. You happen to put a little chat in there too. Well, thanks. Well, no, cool. Glad to be here again. Again, I'm Adam Blue. This is the podcast I do every week where the opening, you never know what's going to happen. But luckily, I have Steven here to help me feel better about everything. How you doing, man?
Doing good. How are you, buddy?
Doing good. It's like I told you yesterday, because luckily, Steven and I have another chance to kind of chill and chat, and that's Wednesdays. So Wednesdays on Steven's YouTube channel, Midnight Hatter. We talk video games, game development, tabletop sometimes, and Gunpla. But yeah, yesterday I was telling him how, I've had a busy work week. So it was like nice for him and I just to chill, like doing the podcast, but we're also just chilling and talking, just talking about the things that make us, happy and excited about life. Yeah. Has your week been going good so far too?
Yeah. Same as yours. Long work week, and so I enjoy the opportunity to sit down and kind of chat with everybody. So, for me, like I feel like I got to name my show like Steven's Basement or something, because it just feels like having people over to talk shop and enjoy all of our mutual hobbies.
You know what? I think that's the best way to go about it, because it's not forced. It's just like, hey, let's just chill, have some fun. But yeah, good to see everyone in the chat. A lot of cool things to talk about, I think. And what's cool about having everyone in the chat and Steven here is I don't think we'll run out of things to talk about. So for instance, like Cucuruz Doan's Island, someone in Japan might be watching it right now, right? I mean,
crazy to think about.
Yeah, and so I've been kind of peeking in on Twitter every once in a while to see if maybe there's some news or updates. So at some point, we're going to talk about the movie, and I'm going to be scouring Twitter at the same time to see if there's anything someone happened to say about it, or if anyone in chat has heard any impressions yet. I know that there was, Steven, correct me if I'm wrong, like some 10-minute opening, or 10 minutes to watch. I haven't watched it.
Yeah, I haven't gotten around to watching it either, but yeah, there is a sort of 10-minute preview for those of us that can't enjoy the full cinematic glory.
Yeah, well, yeah, so hopefully we'll talk a little bit about that in a second, but some other things, let's see. We're going to talk about Gunpla like we sometimes do, but something specifically I want to talk about is if there's a kid out there that doesn't exist, what would it be? And we'll get to that in a second. I'd also like to see what chat has to say about it. I've got some ideas. Just some basic GBO2 news, and then some other random Gundam news that we'll talk about and with the chat about. And then, we're going to deep dive into the RX-121 3C Gundam TR1 Haze'n-thley. It's a mobile suit I built recently, and I like to learn more about, the model kits I'm building to kind of get to know the Gundam. So, you know what? And I realized, Steven, why there was issues with the display, and it was because of me using the wrong browser to share. So, yeah. So please pardon me as we get through this. But what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go to the okay, good, that worked. So Discord, have you heard about it? Well, there's a cool community on there for Gundam Explained. And actually, let me navigate to what I was really trying to navigate to. The Gunpla build contest. Oh, and there's some double dragon figures in there, pretty interesting. No, but really, go to the Discord and check out the Gunpla build contest channel, because this weekend I'll probably announce the winner. Basically, just go in and react to any of the Gunpla. I'll count them up, see who the winner is. They get a Barbados loop. Wait, it's the one with the 4 legs.
Oh,
Barbatorus, yeah. And,
nice,
and then
nice.
some other Gunpla kit stuff I'll throw in for building.
Yeah, I
Um,
gotta say, you're a talented bunch of creators because just scrolling through some of these kits and some of these builds, there are some pretty advanced techniques that you all are using, and
yeah,
and some rare kits. You know, a full armor seventh Gundam.
yeah.
That's
Yeah,
yeah.
there's a lot of good ones in here because and I allowed for like multiple entries. I mean that's fun, and so like even Nick the mechanic, he's someone that has been on the show before or on a video of mine on this channel before, and he has put a lot of entries in that are pretty cool. But there's a lot of good stuff in there to look at. I just want to bring that up because yeah, again I'll be announcing winners. So if you have any Gunpla you built this year that you want to throw in, yeah, feel free to do that. And then and this is really just the housekeeping portion, just talking about videos that came out recently since the last podcast. I had the high grade RX 78, the Blue Destiny that I built and that I used some different top coats. I kind of explained my process in there, and I've had some really good comments on that of people that are familiar with building. So, yeah, that was a cool one. And then the Miller's Report, which is a movie that takes place in the middle of 8th MS Team. That kind of adds more context to Shiro, Aina, more in regards to the choices he made, which led the Federation to believe he could be a traitor. So it's kind of cool that they actually added more to that. And there's also an additional animation for 08th MS Team that a member of the channel told me about. So I'm actually going to review that next. Some more follow-up story to 8th MS Team.
You're
So
just never gonna get away from 8th MS Team. You're
yeah,
just locked into it now.
I know. Yeah, I mean, if it's not because people like the ground Gundam design, you can see that design is then used in other Gunpla all the time.
It is.
Yeah, and so let's see. The next thing I wanted to bring up. Let me go back to full screen real quick. Steven, anything Gundam related you got into this week? And it could be a no. We don't have to live Gundam 24/7.
Yeah, right. Well, I am picking back up with fitting for Cucuruz Doan's Island airing today, technically.
Yeah.
I got my Origin
Oh.
Char Zaku 1, and I haven't applied any stickers or any panel lining to it yet, just a raw build. So, any suggestions about what I should do with this? It's funny because I had originally bought this with the intent of painting it purple and calling it Eric Blanc's Zaku
Ah.
1, but after building it, I was like, well, that's
Oh.
Char Zaku. I can't
Well,
I can't very well paint a Char Zaku purple.
how often do you do like weathering?
I've only done weathering a couple of times, and I do have those, Tamiya weathering
Yeah.
kits, if you're familiar with those.
No, yeah, that's yeah. Maybe try your hand at weathering, even if it's light weathering. Like I think a way to word this, I don't see this often. Just wear, not
Yeah,
weathering, but wear. Maybe we can add just something to the feet or to like the shield, just to look like it had been in some battles, but not necessarily completely
yeah,
destroyed.
yeah, a little tarnishing.
But did you built that this week?
I did,
Sweet.
yes, I this has been a very big Gunpla week for me. I've built a lot of kits, and obviously you've seen me tearing some kits apart on my stream, so, uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Same here.
keeping busy.
I've been back at it actually. It's been a while. I mean, in fact, we were talking even on your show yesterday, which we kind of talked deep about different coats and stuff when it comes to like top coating. So I was showing and it might be hard to see on stream, but I was showing the Haze'n-thley, and I actually went back in and okay. I don't know if you remember yesterday on the show you were talking about the Rust-Oleum.
Yes.
So I had ordered it to test it out. Now the one I have is this matte clear, two
Okay.
times coverage. I don't know. I
2x ultra
sprayed
cover.
I sprayed an F ton on this, and while it has a different look than I thought, it doesn't have any sort of like distortion to it. Like I know it's really hard to see. I'd have to take some pictures with a DSLR, but it it turned out a lot better than I thought using the matte finish from the Rust-Oleum. And I used you advised to kind of stay a little further back. And
Yeah, get a little more even coating.
yeah, and one thing I noticed too is I started noticing it will have the same look that I got with the gloss, where it looks like it was wet, like evenly wet, and I'm like, okay, that's when you know you've probably covered it. And yeah, looking at it, it looks good. So I would say that if you're, if you're someone that is looking to start top coating, or maybe you have and you're still uncertain, like I am most of the time, if you get it from a distance and you be generous with it and you start seeing it have a kind of a wet finish, then you've got it. If it looks spotty, you probably still need to keep going. I think that's right.
Words to live and die by, for sure.
Um, yeah, anything. Oh yeah. Okay, so yeah, here's another thing. And I still need to fully detail it, but this is the G Savior high grade. I imported this from Japan. I have a little wish list thing for Mandarake, and so it will notify me. And
Yeah,
I
that
think
is a vintage kit,
yeah,
by the way.
yeah. So yeah, 2000. So that's 22 years old. I'm gonna do a full review, but I'll say it didn't feel much different than building modern kit. Maybe when this came out, they were kind of using cutting edge stuff. I don't know. But something I do want to do is I've noticed the G Savior, if you like look at pictures of it in the movie or on the box, there's a lot more detail, and it looks like the armor is a light gray. So I'm gonna look into
Mhm.
maybe something I need to do for that, because I want to properly detail it, and not just leave it
Yeah,
hanging.
yeah, you wanna give it that movie finish, and that was really on the so G Savior was what, 98, 99 in
Yeah,
terms of when it was
99 and 2000. I think it might have been 99 in Japan and 2000 US or something like that.
because, that was pretty early as far as CG animation, full-fledged CG animation was being done, and, I wouldn't expect as much care given to that as you would see from, like, the Guyver movies.
Yeah, you know what's interesting too about the that G Savior movie? So it depends when you've grown up and watched a lot of TV. But in the 90s, there's a lot of those sci-fi shows that I think it
Oh, yeah.
looks like, right? You know what I mean?
Exactly. It's
And
got that low budget sci-fi movie
yeah,
that you
and
put on in the afternoon.
the CGI was done by veterans of the people that did like Star Trek Generation and Deep Space Nine and whatever else, those Babylon 5 or something, those other sci-fi CGI shows. So it was like, and if you, I think we watched G Savior for one of our movie nights with the Patreons, but if you really look at the CG and for its time, it's actually pretty good. Like the camera angles, the debris, the details. It's just, it's one of those things where it's a very narrow spot in time when it comes to creating things that you either connect with it or you don't. Um,
Right.
I don't know
Right.
how to explain it.
I think that it was head and shoulders above things like Reboot
Oh yeah,
and Beast Wars and things like that, where everything looked too shiny.
you know what? Speaking of reboot, I that show I thought it was awesome, but they had an episode with Evil Dead and Ash. I don't know, and that blew my
That was
mind
great.
when that came out. I was like, these people, they know what they're doing.
And
Um,
this was before Avengers Infinity War and things,
yeah,
we were spoiled as kids because that was the most epic crossover team up that you could get, right?
I know. Yeah, yeah. And it's funny being the age I am and how obsessed I was with Evil Dead, and it's just as big or bigger than it's ever been. But this isn't the Evil Dead podcast, although that is a good idea. But no,
Evil Dead Explained.
yeah, Evil Dead explained. Yeah, that'd be great. But one last thing. I got another Advance of Zeta kit. So yet another one that I'll be working on. I love these kits, and I'll try to get every single
Good
one I
stuff.
find on Amazon. That's for
Good
sure.
stuff. Which and what was the name on that one for the
Yeah,
for the audio?
this is the 121 2A Gundam TR1 Advanced Hazel. So
Okay, the Hazel Advanced.
Okay, so I don't know too much about it. And that's some things I'm going to start exploring, but it looks like a standard Hazel. It just has the
It's got the Titans colors for one
Titans
thing.
colors. Yep, and then the head and V fin are a little different. It's got like a bigger piece here. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just love those suits. All right, cool. So the next part, this was a question that I got from Patreon, and I thought it was a pretty good question from G Norwood, and it's if you were to, or what is a Gunpla that you would like to build that doesn't exist? Now, do you need time to answer that? Because I've already thought of it.
Well, that's a big question, right?
Yeah,
If we're thinking in terms of kits that just haven't been made yet, but that are canon mobile suits, for instance,
yeah.
I think I've mentioned in the past that one of the suits that I would love to see is the regular armor Gundam 7th. So the RX-78
Mm.
7 instead
Oh,
of 78-2. So they do have the full armor 7th,
yeah.
which
We saw.
someone has built
Yeah.
on Discord. But I was disappointed to find that that kit, you can't take the full armor package off of it to
Mm.
reveal the regular Gundam 7th underneath. The way that you can with, say, the Thunderbolt full armor
Oh, yeah.
Gundam. If you take all of the parts off of it, there's basically an RX-78-2 in there. But
Mm.
no kit exists of the regular Gundam 7th. So that is something I would like to see.
Okay, that's pretty good. You know, you brought up a good point because it's like, what's a kit that they haven't made a mobile suit of, or what's a kit that you want a type? For instance, I would love a real grade F91 or Victory. There's
Yeah.
those are really cool designs, especially the F91 having that, the engine, the way that engine looks. Like, think of all the details they can have where you're building it. And then Victory is along the same development timeline in a way. And
True.
I mean, I like its kind of clean look it has, but I just love what they've been able to come up with the real grades. I think they've knocked it out of the park with how they design them.
Yeah, I agree. The real grade line, they still advertise it on the box. You'll see that it says, "Oh, it's got a fully assembled inner frame," but I think they've done away with the inner frame gimmick for at least the last 5 or 6 kits that they've released. And I
Oh,
think it's
okay.
for the better. Um, I don't think that inner frame really supported a lot of the articulation for a variety of kits,
Mm,
and that's where the high grade line has done a really good job of exploring different ways of assembling joints for different suits that may not have the same posability as other ones.
mm. Okay. So, something I saw from Shield Maiden Sayla, do Gunpla kits exist of mobile armors like the Elmith? I don't think I've seen that one, and that's a good question. I would get an Elmith if I've seen it, but I don't think I've ever come across that.
They're never the right scale. I think there's like a 1/1700th scale Elmeth,
Oh, okay, I see.
but that's, you couldn't put that on the shelf next to a 1/44th, right?
Yeah, and that reminds me too of like the Big Zam because I did see like an old action figure line, but not an actual model kit.
Right.
And I feel like that can be done. I mean, just think of like a Nightingale, like the 144 Nightingale. Wouldn't that be nearly as big as that? I,
I mean,
I don't
yeah.
know. So that's interesting. I wonder if those kind of, and I don't mean this in a negative way, but they're like archaic designs. I think Gundam has kind of shied away from that, even when they include mobile armors during that time period, like updated stuff like oh 08 MS Team. It's like the Opsilus, which it's very detailed. It looks more realistic, but I like the Elmith design, especially knowing
Yeah.
that's like Lala's, her mobile armor. I feel like that's like a pivotal piece to have. And yeah, I don't have anything like that.
Yeah. How are you supposed to recreate that iconic scene?
Yeah, with Sayla and Char and Amuro. Yeah, that's a good point. In the chat, I'm seeing Brian Zanichelli, mass production RX 94 new Gundam. And yeah, I want to say maybe a month ago, one of my podcasts, I like just found out about the mass production of that, and I was like, wow, this is a really cool looking suit. So
It's got a great color scheme on it. Oh, there you go. Alan says kits for all of the machines from 0083 Rebellion.
Oh yeah, I'm learning a
100%
lot
agree with
more
that one.
about Rebellion. There's a lot of cool stuff they're doing to tie in things. When 0083 was made in the first place to tie in things, that manga goes even further.
Definitely.
Gene Norwood saying perfect grade GPO3, which that would be pretty cool. I haven't built a perfect grade. Have you?
Really. I have built the perfect grade ARC, the granddaddy, the ARC 78 too,
Uh,
and I do so. And you guys tell me because I am sitting on my backlog consists of a perfect grade Zeta Gundam, as well as a high grade GPO3, the Dendrobium Orcus kit. That would probably be a fun community stream build if you guys wanted to tune in to watch that. I mean, it would probably be at least a 12-hour stream.
Well, yeah, that's interesting because I noticed when I would stream, I was talking so much. I remember someone even made a comment. Look, Adam can't focus because no, it's hard. Like even something I was building on stream, yeah, the Haze'n-thley. When I did it on my own, when I was finishing on my own, it was quick.
Right.
So I would think maybe do it in parts because I would think both the Zeta you have and the GPO3 you said the high grade,
Hmm.
those are almost different builds. So those would be their own unique streams. I think. Yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, I would. So perfect grade Zeta, that's amazing. I still want to get that master grade 2.0 that comes with that launch dock that can
Yeah,
connect to the Mark II master grade launch dock. Yeah, I'd love to get
yeah,
that.
it's very sweet.
Now, I, I I've been actively looking for a perfect grade for a while, and I want to get that unleashed. And I would have to spend about $300. Does that seem accurate? Or
That is about the going rate. So, I mean,
okay.
I bought my perfect grade Zeta Gundam a few years ago, and I was kind of watching it on eBay, and it just so happened that the price dropped from I think it was around 180 down to 120, and I just I said, "This is my chance, gonna go for it."
Wow.
And I was lucky to win that auction. But, I think that you'll have to reach out to I believe it's Ranko Yagyu, one of the users on my Discord server. He has come into possession of a lot of rare Gunpla kits, one of them including the perfect grade Zaku 2. Not the Char Zaku, but the
Oh,
green
yeah.
standard Zaku 2. And I think he is willing to part with it.
Oh.
So if you are on the Midnight Hatter Discord server, reach out to Ranko Yagyu. If you are watching this on June 2nd,
Yeah.
2022, um, that is still currently available, I believe.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I might, because I'd be interested. It's funny today. I was looking at my pre-orders, and I think we were talking about this before on Big Bad Toy Store. I have all of these pre-orders that every month it's a new release month, and so I'm like, I can't wait. I need to get some of these things.
I'm starting to wonder if it's just a big scam that they've got rolling over there.
But that's the thing. I've come across sites that do that where it's a scam, but Big Bad Toy Store is usually on point. With my
Yeah.
Star Wars figures that I've pre-ordered, I've always got them. So yeah, it's very interesting. Let's see, anything else? Oh, Neon Wave just got here. Good to see you, man. Let's see. Oh yeah, and then Shield Maiden Sailor was saying that they have the Neo Zeong from Unicorn. And that's pretty cool.
That's a big kit.
Yeah,
That's the size of a toddler.
yeah, I've seen that. I think in the background of Mecha guy. I don't want to kill his name. Mecha guy
Mecha
Goku.
Gaikotsu.
Yeah, and I think in the background of some of his videos, he's had it there. I think he has one. I don't think I've seen the um his review. Let's see. And then yeah, Shield Maiden Sailor saying that she saw the perfect grade at the MomoCon. I guess that was down in Georgia or something like that. The vendor was selling it for 400. Wow. Yeah,
Oh man.
that's pricey. It's just I saw one for like 380 something to import, but there would be the shipping. So I was like, well,
Right.
that's pretty expensive anyway.
Hmm.
So or no, it was like two something, but anyway. Okay, well, Any other kit that maybe has come to mind that they should make that they haven't made? Because really, I can't think of any mobile suits I like that aren't in kit form. I'm just thinking, I think real grade can use some more unique kits. Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to see the master grade and real grade lines kind of extended. I would also like to see the entry grade line
Oh
extended
yeah,
just in general. I think that
that's a
that
good
is a
point.
great it reduces that barrier to entry for newcomers to the hobby, and it gives guys like you and I that tend to do kind of experiments on their kits. I
Yeah,
don't want to necessarily start throwing a subpar top coat on a perfect grade Zeta Gundam, right?
yeah. No, that is a good point. That's what I like about the entry grades. In fact, that's the thing though. I think an entry grade is $7 if you get it straight from the source, but I think it's like
Mhm.
15 if you buy it online. It's just a comic book shop near me had an entry grade for 20, and I was like, that's a little, because I think even at
That's like a high
Target,
grade.
yeah, yeah, at Target they're $10 or 10.99. So yeah,
And that's one piece of advice that I would give, people when they are at conventions, things like MomoCon. I actually bought a RE100, a, the Bawu kit. The
oh
seller was I forget what they were asking for, but they said, "If you buy in cash, we'll give it to you for $30 less."
wow,
So, not gonna encourage people to carry lots of cash around at cons, but if you are going to a convention and you expect to see a lot of vendors there, carry cash because they will usually throw you a discount,
hmm.
and that's a pretty steep one.
Yeah, and XX Nike 629 XX, you have to be careful with prices that retailers put on Gunpla these days. Some retailers will jack up the price close to scalper prices, and I've
True.
definitely seen that. There's a difference for me. 2019, when I first got into Gunpla and I would go to a hobby store and they had everything and they were inexpensive, to now when I go, it's like there's not much to choose from. And if there's something interesting, it has a price higher than Amazon. And it's like, I could just order it on Amazon. So, but anyway, let's move on to some news stuff. For instance, GBO2, something I've logged in a couple times recently, but haven't played it like I have before. I made the mistake of assuming the PC release would happen. Um, but the
You weren't alone in
Kshatriya,
that.
yeah, I know. Uh, but yeah, the Kshatriya, like to me, I think that's amazing that the Kshatriya is in this because that seems like a super advanced suit.
Yeah.
Where it is in the timeline, it's, I mean, that gives me hope for future stuff they're gonna do. I like that you're guaranteed a level one Kshatriya by what, stage 6 of using the gotcha. Is that what that means? Like
I think so. So
like
that means, I mean, let's see, how many tokens would that total take? Because
isn't it
it's,
about 60 for 30? Maybe in
I
that
think
ballpark.
you get 10 pulls for 30 coins,
Yeah,
like one pull for every 3 coins you throw
yeah,
at it. So, I guess you're looking at 60 pulls, 6 times 30. I'm terrible at math, so
yeah, yeah. Already, I think that's way overpriced. But there are
yeah.
people that are really into the game and they will pay so they can get the suit. That's cool for them.
Well, and one of the things I like to do is, you log in, you do your dailies, you hoard your coins, and you
Yeah,
wait until an event.
yeah, that's right. I have coins waiting for me. I might do it with this because the first pull is the half off, and I'm figuring by now I have to get one of the Hazels. Like, because aren't there two now? And I haven't
Well,
even got one.
and that's the worst part. If you're holding out for a suit that's already been out, then every new release means that the percentage chance of you pulling that one that you want is going down just ever so slightly.
And I wonder what then they do is do they make older suits have maybe a higher percentage of pulling? Because there was a time where I was getting everything I wanted right after another. It was like I got the double Zeta, I got the new, I got the Sazabi, I got the Zeta when I didn't get them originally, but after, or maybe it's how many times I was playing. I don't
I
play as
wonder
much
if
as I
there's an
did.
algorithm that detects how often you log in and play, and if they detect that your play time has gone down, they might increase the
Mm,
odds of you pulling a rare suit.
That
That
would be
sounds like something I
wrong,
would do,
but
and I'm an
interesting.
evil programmer.
That'd be wrong, but interesting. Oh, Alan Mitchell saying I pretty much only pull on half off 10 spin. Yeah, and that's what I was doing for a while. I would wait until just be the half off, see what I get, and
Right.
then just save up coins. So, oh, Death Watch 619, good to see you. If you need any teammates for GVO2, always down to play. That is awesome. Yeah, and anytime, yeah, post in the video game channel in the Discord if you're looking for someone to play with. I need to get back into it. And like I said, I just logged in the other day to make sure my PS5 was up to date and everything. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I was
Yeah. Well, and I
thinking,
gotta finish Code Fairy.
yeah, there's that. Did you do all the side missions? Like not the main story, but you know how like each character has their own side missions?
I mean, I haven't even gotten through the main story
Oh,
yet, so
and
yeah, I'm way behind.
yeah, after playing the main story, it's totally worth the asking price of a video game because there's a lot of content there, the different difficulties, what you can unlock, and all that. So, um, let's see.
To control a video device with your voice,
Let's
you
move
need to
on.
connect it first.
Okay.
In the
Yeah.
So-
left
Sorry
app,
about that.
go to
That's
settings.
No, this Gundam.info. So this is like the main Gundam website or whatever. They're just posting stuff, which is kind of pretty cool that they will post this series to watch on their YouTube for a limited time.
yep.
Now, one thing though is a lot of people have streaming services, so they can just watch it that way. But it is cool for people, or maybe someone that's younger that can't just ask their parents to like pay for Hulu, that you can, because Double O is like on Hulu and Crunchyroll, I believe. Build Fighters, maybe, and then Iron Blooded Orphans. Yeah, it's on. Even Netflix. Have you watched all of these?
Me personally, I have watched Iron Blooded Orphans and Double O. I'm not a Build Fighters guy personally, but I couldn't get through it. What about yourself?
I haven't watched any of them. I watched the first episode of Iron Blooded Orphans, and sometimes I think it takes a few shows to get into a show. The first episode didn't do it for me.
Absolutely. I agree with that.
Okay, Mobile Suit Gundam 00, same thing. First episode, I had no idea what was going on. And I was like, maybe later.
Well, and it can be disorienting for us grognards, right? Because we come into it with that universal century sensibility, and
Yep.
then when you start getting into the show and they start throwing these new characters and new factions at you, you're kind of grasping for, okay, who's the Amuro here?
Yeah, watching Wing, and I'll get into this in a little bit. I'm 18 episodes in now, and it's getting to the point now where there's this charm. Maybe it's the repetition of seeing the characters, but there's this charm now that it's like I can see that. I don't want to be mean, but it's just not good. But it has elements that are good enough to make it worth spending your time with. It's weird.
Agreed. It's got a high level of camp. So
yeah, yeah. And we'll talk more about that because I do want to dive into that a little bit later. But
sure.
let's see. I wanted to look at something here. Let's see. Oh, Shield Maiden Sayla. Double O is on Crunchyroll. Same with IBO and Wing, but they only have the Japanese versions. And that's something I'm going to talk about too here in a second because with Wing, I changed to the Japanese dub, and that was a lot more tolerable. Because the acting kind of threw me off from the English dub.
Slugger Law says, "Are we all excited for Cucuruz?" And yes, we are.
Yeah.
Please don't punch me.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second too. That's funny. Yeah, Slager Law has been a contributor for a while now. That's pretty cool. I feel honored. No, but WebFox100, good to see you, man. Build Fighters rules. Love IBO 2. Okay, so yeah, I haven't watched Build Fighters. Or I might have tried it one time in the past, but I did watch the new battle log thing that they had on YouTube, and I liked that because it was 5 minutes each episode, so it was like straight to the action. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know.
That's the way to do it.
Hey, good to see Mad Matt, the heavy metal mecha pilot. If we're going to talk about favorite AU Gundams, my personal favorite is Gundam X, followed by 00 and IBO. I also enjoy G Gundam a lot. Okay, yeah, you know what? That would be a good topic of discussion we should do soon, is favorite non-UC mobile suits. or maybe specifically Gundams. I don't know, but
That could be cool.
I can't wait to explore that stuff. Okay. From Alan Mitchell, I jumped into Double O in the second, third episode when it felt like a homage to Wing with the Gundams fighting a ton of MP units. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see something like that. And Shieldmain Sayla 79. I like me some cheese in my Gundam shows, but Wing borders on giving me a lactose intolerance. That's funny.
That's a good
Yeah,
one.
I like that when it comes to some shows you watch or movies, especially when there's sequels and they keep going. Sometimes it has to change its atmosphere or what or tone just to keep people engaged.
Yeah. And Gundam Wing, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but that was the first, if we're not going to count Double Zeta, that was the first team of Gundam pilots,
Hmm.
right? That was the first time we had like the Gundam boys, which again was kind of emulated in Double O and to a certain extent in Seed, where you had like a team of Gundam pilots instead of just one main protagonist and a couple of side characters.
They kind of did that in Victory because there was Uso in his
Uso.
Victory Gundam, but then there was the I forgot the name of the Maribel was one of them. There was all those ladies that had the Gun-EZs, which
Yep.
yeah, so they kind of did that there.
Similar
Okay.
flavor for sure.
All right, moving on. Okay. Speaking of AU, Reconquista in G. Have you seen that?
I have not.
Same here.
I've heard mixed reviews. I'm sure you have as well.
Yeah.
But
It's
I'm
Tomino.
always willing to give it
and
it is Tomino.
So that's one thing. And another thing, it's like it was a series and then they made it into 4 movies. And even this says hundreds of new cuts and updated scenes. That's pretty cool. I almost feel like since this is coming out, like I probably should get into Reconquista in G to see if
give G Reco a chance, and especially you want to watch the original before you watch this new cut, right?
Yeah.
And I hope that they don't do the same thing that they did to A New Translation, where
Mm.
you kind of had that jarring juxtaposition of the classic Zeta animation next to that revamped HD animation.
I know I love that revamped HD animation. I mean, I love the old animation, but then when you see the revamped HD animation, it's like they should have just done the whole, because I think by the time you get to the 3rd movie, it's like 90% new stuff. If they did the whole thing like that, that's what they need to do with Double Zeta.
Now, Nike is asking, are we excited for Witch from Mercury? Have you been keeping up with the Witch from Mercury promo materials?
Yeah, so from what I understand is they just released an English trailer for it, even though there was nothing really English in it. It was really just, I guess, the language. But apparently it's a simulcast in Japan and maybe the rest of the world or just any English territories. So that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, we didn't even get anything like that for Cucuruz.
Yeah. So that's a good point you bring up, because I wonder if this initiative is, we've seen this initiative with Bandai Namco recently, where it's like they're trying to push Gundam kind of universally in a lot of different aspects. I wonder if Cucuruz was just already in production by the time they had this new initiative. Because I mean, hey, a Gundam game's coming out on Xbox. So like all this stuff is happening.
Stranger things have happened.
Yeah. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to talk about real quick is, and I'm going to be searching around real quick while we talk about it, is the Cucuruz Doan's Island, or I like to call it Cucuruz Doan's Island, because there's so many syllables in there. I don't even know.
I'm the walrus. I don't know.
But so I was hoping to see something, and I'm on Twitter right now. I'm looking at the latest. I'm searching for it, but there is nothing of anyone talking about it. I guess even if it's out right now, maybe it's one of those things where it's like an evening release.
Potentially. I mean, I imagine a lot of people are waiting to get off work, and then they're gonna hit the theater, right?
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Yeah, but nothing. Yeah, nothing yet about. I mean, really, again, what we're hoping for is, I think someone from the community mentioned this, is, when Hathaway came out, it wasn't until it came out that they then afterwards announced the English release. So
Right.
maybe within the next week we'll hear something. I feel like I'm going to be checking Twitter every morning when I wake up, to find out, because that's going to be awesome. I can't wait. When they announce that, I'm going to want to, I don't know, obviously do a review of the video, somehow involve the community. I don't know if can't really do we could live stream and chat about it. But
Yeah,
not
we could do, like, a
watch
watch
it.
along.
Yeah, like a watch along almost. That would be really cool to do, because I think that's like an event. I mean,
Yeah.
if I could rent out a theater and invite everybody, that would be awesome.
Do
Yeah.
our own Fathom.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Classic Quarter Gameplays. Hello, love the channel. I've been a Gundam fan since 1980s. Enjoy all the Gundams. I feel it's different. The different space colonies in space and its different timelines, plus battles can happen far parts of space. Plus, I agree. That's good that you agree.
Yeah,
We
cheers.
agree. Yeah. No, but it's good that you're here, Classic Quarter Gameplays. That actually sounds like a cool channel name. I'll have to check that out later. And
Yeah.
then Neon
I love
Wave, I'm
retro
hoping.
gaming.
Oh, what's that?
Oh, I just said I love retro gaming, so that's
Yeah, me
right up my
too.
alley.
When I see a YouTube channel name that has something to do with retro gaming, I'm always checking it out. And even in our Promote Your Stuff channel in the Discord, someone posted something about a channel they were on with some retro gaming. It was pretty cool.
Awesome.
But yeah, Neon Wave saying, I'm hoping the protagonist from Mercury isn't a Mary Sue like Mikazuki was a Gary Stu in IBO. She gave off an emotionless expression in the trailer, much like Mikazuki did throughout IBO. Yeah, that's interesting. I guess the first episode, I watched of IBO. I had no connection with the characters. There's that guy that was really skinny, but he seemed to have a lot of muscles. That's right. Like he was shirtless the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. There's just not enough in that trailer. But I kind of see what you're saying. I like it when a protagonist has more of a personality.
Yeah. And I mean, give it a chance, because what did we get? 13 seconds of footage from it. So
yeah, I mean, that's true.
It'd
There's
be
just
hard for me to emote that much.
no, yeah, there's just so little. Yeah, it's really hard to really get a feeling. Although, like, even like Battlelog, the way they wrote those characters have personality. And that was
agreed.
One of the most recent ones. Yeah. Oh, and then Alan Mitchell, I'm still putting my bets on Magic being in Witch from Mercury. Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool.
With the witch, I mean, using the terminology witch, I think that does mean something. So, Arx Croissant, good to see you. Everything is always separate, but Turn A's universe info is confusing. Yeah, because apparently it's UC ends with Turn A and then possibly Reconquista and G. That's...
Yeah, I mean, Turn A is what they call the correct century, and it's, every Gundam series has culminated in the dark history that makes up Turn A.
I gotta watch it.
Yeah, you gotta watch it. It's good stuff.
Oh, okay.
Very good stuff.
The only reason I haven't is because I feel like I have to pace myself, make sure I really understand everything in Victory before moving on.
Absolutely.
Okay, so really with that, this last topic is really about Cucuruz Doan's Island. I was just looking on Twitter. There's nothing yet.
Nada.
So call me the Cucuruz Doan's English watch. Like, if you guys are trying to figure it out, and I bet someone, though, in the Discord will find out and post before me. That's usually how it works. The people in the Discord know their Gundam.
Yes.
Know how to get their info. Okay, so I'm going to move on real quick. Let's see. So, this RX-121 3C Gundam TR1 Haze'n-thley. So, one thing that's interesting is the RX-121, because we're kind of normal with the RX-78, RX-79. Typically, it has to do with the year. So, with 121, we get something a little different. I don't know what that means yet. And the fact that apparently this is the final form of the Hazel. So this is the Hazel with like everything. And actually, I do have a standard Hazel. I should have brought it to compare. But so this is what it's supposed to look like. And when I built the kit, and I'll show it in my video review, but there's little areas that it didn't have paint or little details that I had to actually go in and do it, and I'm glad I did. It feels a lot better. Like the red on the shoulders there. There was no stickers or anything. Even the manual is black and white. And when you go to the wiki, black and white. So I had to use like this photo to kind of get an idea, but that's not too detailed. It's not detailed enough.
I love that color scheme, but you're right. I mean, a lot of those, I don't even want to say it's an older kit, but I guess it's that generation of high grades has very poor color separation.
Okay, that could be, what's going on, because if we like look at this picture and so like the Vulcans that are on the cheeks, I had to put that red in there. It might be hard to see. And then even on the chest near the cockpit, I had to color that gray and put the red in there. I'll do a complete deep dive of how I constructed this in a video, but it was from this that that's how I decided to do the deep dive, because this is Advance of Zeta, so it's after Mobile Suit Gundam, but before Zeta, and this is when the Titans, Zeonic, Zimad, had probably all folded into Anaheim Electronics. Earth Federation, the Titans specifically, probably had like an unlimited budget to do whatever you can. We're justified in whatever defense we can create, because you never know if the Zeon remnants are going to show up again. We saw what Zeon did throwing a colony, Well,
and you have to remember, I mean, they had just had their Navy nuclear attacked by Anna Volgato and the Delaz fleet. So, I mean, they were just victims of a nuclear attack. They've got to think, hey, we're going to throw everything and the kitchen sink.
That's good. That's good that you brought that up, because it's not only the colony drop, and that's a big deal, but they're going after any weapon they can to cause some destruction. But, okay. And so another thing I like about the Advance of Zeta line, the Hazels, they have a Mark II look, and the Mark II is one of my favorite designs. It's considered the final unit of the Hazel series, which uses components from the TR6, Haze'n-thley 2, and the Advanced Hazel. So that's that. Oh, that's that one that I was just showing I just got. As a result, virtually all the RGM-79 QGM Quell parts that remained in the Hazel are replaced by enhancement parts for both the TR6. Okay, so it has some legacy Quell stuff that got changed to more updated things.
Which, as far as production line goes, that means that the Haze'n-thley, this final form of the Gundam Hazel, kind of deviates from the same production track that led to the Gundam Mark II, because the GM Quell line, all of those parts are still compatible with the Gundam Mark II.
Yeah, and if we look at future Advanced of Zeta suits, there's the Haze'n-thley 2 Raw or something, and it's to the point to where they start looking completely different. They stop having feet. The legs start being pointy. You get less of the typical Mark II Gundam head, and you get the Woundwort or some others where they have a more unique head to them. So, yeah, they move away from that kind of design. I guess because wasn't that the first that had the movable frame, the Mark II? Wasn't that its main thing? And maybe that's what allowed, the design of the other units. 60 millimeter Vulcan guns, which is a staple with these suits. Beam sabers, 90 millimeter machine gun, spread beam gun, long blade rifle. So this is pretty interesting, because I think this is what they're referring to, this long blade rifle. And apparently it works like a heat hawk, and this actually heats up. And that's huge. But I mean, this can fly to a Musai and cut off the deck if it wanted to, if it's something that big. That's crazy. And then sub-arm unit. So this is interesting, because we see this in a lot of future mobile suits. In fact, even retroactively, we saw that with the Thunderbolt Gundam, because it was able to grab the other parts. And it's actually located down here. So yeah, it can I guess the hand can move around, reload the ammo. grab other weapons. I kind of liked how sometimes we would see that with future Gundam designs, how they would sometimes randomly have other arms.
Yeah.
It's kind of like,
Well, and the placement of them on the Haze'n-thley lines up with the O. Paptimus Shirako's mobile suit had subarms underneath its front skirts. So
yeah.
you could say that Titan's influence is still permeates all of the Advance of Zeta designs.
And that's pretty good because if you think about it conceptually, whenever they're designing Hazel stuff, did the creators look at everything that was in Zeta and try to be like, okay, what could be an evolution of design philosophy here? And I like that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's this other thing, an emergency escape pod, the Primrose. So this is supposed to be the answer to the core block because by this time there's no more of that core block booster that, like we saw in the ARC 78-2, where a little jet can fly out. I love that, by the way, and I wish the Mark II had that. Although it has the G defensor, but so this is kind of an answer to like that G defensor and core block. Is this like escape pod?
Yeah.
I actually do have it, the high grade version. And
Sweet.
yeah, and you somehow can connect it on. I mean, that's the thing with these Hazels. They're all interchangeable with their accessories. And yeah, I'll have to show that off. But I guess this is the answer to the core block, the G Defensor. And then here's something else I saw. Now, this isn't a model, but this was like a custom-built version of it when there was like no model that existed. And you can kind of see where it looks very similar, but when I was looking at it for the paint to color it, I noticed there were some differences in design, and it's like really basic stuff. Just like how some edges or angles are, they're just a little different.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting we see that sometimes. I think like when the Penelope, or the Kasai Gundam, right? The Kasai Gundam had more of a Zeta-like face than the original design of it. I think it had a more Gundam face.
Very true.
Yeah, so, there's really not much about this because of the nature of it being from a side story that was just featured in, the foreign language. There is a translations on the Zeonic Scans website that I've posted before of the novel. But I guess the main takeaway here is with the Hazel line, we can see where they took the Mark II, kind of evolved the construction of those types of mobile suits. Yeah, to the point to where they don't look like the Mark II from where they came from, as you mentioned, Steven. And but they have all those crazy, like, experimental weapons and things that we see later on.
Yeah. It would have been interesting, and I'm a little saddened that you don't see more of the influence that would have led to some of those other mobile suits that you see from the Titans later in 0087. Something like the Bolanoke Saman's claw arm, or the Pallas Athena's missile pods on its back, things like that. A couple more of those design throwbacks that would have tied it in more with the Titans lineup, I think would have gone a long way to kind of solidifying its place in the canon.
Yeah, because I think it's easy sometimes for Gundam fans or people getting into Gundam to look at Advance of Zeta and be like, where does this fit in the timeline? Everything looks so futuristic.
Right.
But as I get into the other kits and I build them, because I plan to get them all that are on Amazon for now, at least. Hopefully I'll come across maybe a new aspect of it, and then I'll share that with everybody.
Awesome.
Going to chat real quick. A lot of cool stuff in here. So, WebFox 100, Victory is high on new type stuff like Unicorn. Take your time. Although, no, I've seen Victory. I love Victory. I mean, I would almost say Victory is my number 3. As much as I like Double Zeta, I like Victory better than Double Zeta. It would be like the original Zeta and then Victory. I don't know what it was about Victory, but it did it for me. Mad Matt, the heavy metal mecha pilot, Haze'n-thley is just sexy looking. Yeah, it certainly is. Let's see. Anything else? Oh, here we go. RX Croissant. The Advance of Zeta line is confusing after weeks of memorizing. I still barely remember them all. It's funny you say that because that's what I'd been doing when I was like, okay, I want to start doing an Advance of Zeta video. Started doing the research. I'm like, okay, how do I even say the names of the things I'm seeing? And then there's like the 2, and then the advanced version, and I'm like, okay, well, when does this take place? And if you check out the novel, the timeline, it's in the future first, and then it goes back, and then it jumps around the timeline, and I'm like, this isn't helpful.
Yeah, I don't know where we're at here.
One day, though. One day. Let's see. Shield Maiden Sailor 79, they had to put a stop to Zeong before Zeong either ran out of colonies to drop on Earth or ran out of Earth to drop colonies on. That's pretty funny.
Well, they had to get their aim a little bit better because they never seem to hit the city that they want.
It's crazy how far, and I guess that's like the new norm in the UC Gundam universe, because, I mean, even the Titans went that far, and then it just doesn't stop. It's like, what could we do to, like, mess up a colony or Earth? It's like, it's pretty crazy. Robert, you're always asking about the artwork. I'll try to someday maybe get to more of that. Robert, you did send a lot. I shared as much as I could, but I've seen, I do want to sometime. There's a lot of work to do, but I do want to sometime do it where I'm going through people's fanfic, like do a brief summary. We were kind of talking about this in the chat. A brief summary of someone's storyline and show off the artwork. So have no fear, Robert. You're in my thoughts. I will get to that sometime. Yeah. Classic Quarter gameplays. I am an anime artist. I am an anime artist to turn A. Always interesting. I got it. It's a mixed world. English is probably not your first language, so I apologize if I'm butchering what you're trying to say. I got it. It's a mix of World War II style and future, like it was after the wars ended, like it was Lost History Reborn. Yeah, I see what you're talking about. Like, I haven't watched Turn A, but from what I've seen from it, it does have that sort of aesthetic, and I kind of like it.
Yeah, and they intentionally leave it up to your interpretation about where it falls in the timeline.
Oh, okay. I like that. Let me get a few more of these other chats real quick. Classic Quarter Gameplays is a big Thunderbolt fan. Alan Mitchell, I personally would have preferred seeing the Hazel as the Titans main unit in Zeta. Then we are not Zeong, but don't confuse us. Yeah, because they have that Haze'n, which it's funny. There's a purple, dark blue Haze'n, but that's the Earth Federation colors. The Titans colors is green.
Right.
For the Haze'n. That's interesting. That's almost like a little trick.
I wonder if it was maybe being used for false flag operations. Like perhaps they were staging Zeong attacks for the audio folks. Air quotes on the Zeong attacks carried out by Titans officers in order to...
They're like, I saw a green Zaku out there. Yeah, because it's interesting that theirs is green when the Titan colors are usually that like dark blue or purple or something like that.
Right.
Okay, so Brian Zanichelli Victory was considered to be the finale conclusion of the Universal Century Gundam. I said that really fast. Universal Century Gundam series. Yeah, and I guess the only other future one for sure would be G Savior. I mean, there's other things, Gaia Gear, but that's up in the air, or Turn A, whatever. But yeah, as of what's been officially released, that's kind of at the end there. Ian Hansen, I'm slowly working my way through UC, just finished Thunderbolt, and now I'm on to 0080 War in the Pocket.
Bring tissues.
Yeah, you're going to have fun with that, Ian. I don't know how much I had spoiled you, Ian, with my video series of 0080, but you should go check back on those after you've watched it. I'm curious what you think. Let's see. Shield Maiden Sailor, the Space Noids miss Earth, but their aim is getting better. Neon Wave. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Oh, Golden Striker. What up, guys? What's new? What are we talking about? Well, Golden Striker, we're talking about Gundam. No. But, you know what? We're going to end it with last topic here. I want to talk about Wing again, just a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, I'm on like episode 18. And like I was saying at the beginning of the podcast, it's like, it's not good. The story is not good. The pacing is not good.
Sounds so mean when you say it that way.
I know. The motivations are not good. And I've alluded to it seeming like a fever dream or like an AI made a Gundam. because when you
Yeah.
look at it, it looks like Gundam. And it's just that when they decide what they're going to do, or when they have a conversation with someone, they just say things that just don't make sense in that moment. But it moves like the action forward. Or even sometimes, and this is
Well,
the biggest disconnect for me, it's like some recent episodes I was in where it's like sometimes they can fight, or sometimes they're like, oh, no, they're going to kill us. Or, oh, no, I got to get out of my mobile suit. They're going to kill. And it's like,
the
what?
stakes are all over the
Yeah,
place.
that's a good
Yeah.
way, I think, to put it, is the stakes.
But
But
yeah, I mean, I don't know what you're talking about, because I think maybe on our third date, I told my wife that I was going to kill her, and it worked out perfectly for me. So
I know
just
that's the craziest part.
she invited me to her birthday party, and I told her to shove off, and she was into it.
Yeah, no, that is the crazy. I'll always remember that when he's like, "I'll kill you," and he like wipes the tear off her eye. That's like the most like craziest. But here's something else: the music. So like that starting theme song. At first, I thought there was like too much, but like all opening themes, they kind of grow on you. They get catchy.
they do.
Um, I also do like the artwork. Like I guess with these, sometimes in the Gundam series, like the art style is different from other ones. Like when it comes to characters' faces, like 08MS Team, most of those I didn't like. But actually in Wing, I kind of do like the look. I think they're really good with the eyes. For some reason, they seem to really be able to portray expressions with the eyes real well.
They do really good on that one. I think that we almost took a step backwards when we got into the Double O and Seed era Gundam series, because Gundam Wing, for as many faults as it does have, the animation is stunning.
Yeah, that's something I'm not complaining about when I'm watching it. In fact, sometimes I'm like, oh, that's a cool fight scene. But what I love that all Gundams do this. There's moments in the shows where maybe it's right after the intro, and when it's like the camera's moving to like a ship, and there's about to be dialogue, like it has like music in the background. And I think the music Gundam Wing has, it reminds me of Zeta Gundam, like when it shows like the Wing Gundam maybe above the earth, and it says like what the name of the episode is, and it plays this stinger that it is very Star Wars like. It reminds me of Zeta, and I think that's what they do a good job with. Gundam does all shows that I've seen, is they really use the music to kind of help drive you forward, even if what you're watching is ridiculous. There's even
Yeah,
that
for sure.
main action song that I think it sounds ridiculous, that's in Wing, but it sounds like an NES song. And it's catchy. Yeah,
Yeah,
even though it's kind of goofy.
it's an earworm for sure.
I will say I like the guy, I think his name is Duo. I think he's the coolest character in terms of like, he seems nice, and I don't know why I
Yeah.
like that, but he's like a nice guy. Everyone else is kind of like I don't know. But the Sandrock, I think, is my favorite design so far. Now
Interesting.
they're getting destroyed one by one. I think
Yeah.
that's part of the story. But the first design of the Sandrock, I like that.
That's an interesting choice. I have to say, that's a unique choice, I would say, among most Gundam fans. Most Gundam fans, I would say, lean heavily towards the heavy arms. If we're gonna pick like one of the core five,
Yeah,
I think that most people tend to go for the heavy arms, and then because Duo is so cool, people tend to like the Death Scythe.
yeah. I mean, that is cool. So one thing about the heavy arms, like I like it in concept, but one, the color scheme, unless it just grows on you, and two, on the chest, those just blue lines.
Yeah,
I feel like that doesn't do anything. Like, what are the blue lines for? Is that later on, or is that just a design?
I think it's just a design
Hmm.
feature, something to give it a sort of superhero looking chest.
Hmm.
But that's one thing that I think that the Wing Gundam kind of introduced, that big emblem, the green sort of jewel on its
Yeah.
chest, makes it's almost like a big Superman badge.
Yeah. Yeah. But that just gave me an idea. The heavy arms kit is actually easily available. Like I'll see it at Target. I'll see it at the comic book shop. That would be one to custom paint. thinking about it, because everything else about it is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Even Shield Maiden Sailor was saying that she likes that Sandrock too. So I'm glad I'm not alone. Okay. G Norwood, wait till season 2 of Wing. They just throw the story out and say, "Screw it, we're going to do the original Gundam show now." Or story.
Exactly. It's abort. Get Char back in here.
Well, I will say, like, I can understand then why people talk about Wing the way they do, because I'm enjoying watching it now, despite obvious flaws. And I think things can be flawed. I think that's perfectly fine. So I guess I finally come to the time where I can start to appreciate Wing. It's finally there. Like, that's the one thing, thinking about Gundam in my past, even though Gundam, that word never came, I knew there was a Wing, like this show in Japan with mechas that everyone here in the U.S. liked on Toonami.
Exactly.
So it's like
Everybody
finally
had their Toonami Tom queued up.
Well, cool. Well, I think that's it for now. Really, thanks everyone for joining. Just another fun time to talk about Gundam. Hopefully this was an enjoyable show/podcast. For those watching, listening, if you have any feedback for maybe things I cover, how I'm covering things, let me know in Discord. Shoot me an email, gundamexplain@gmail.com. Also, feel free to check out Steven at Midnight Hatter. I'll have to double check to see if I put the link in the description. If not, I'm going to do that. But you can check on previous videos. A lot of his stuff is around game development, even Gundam, other stuff too. And I'm on his live stream on Wednesdays, so and it's a lot of fun. I get to relax.
We do a bit more of a variety show, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Which, if you need a break from Gundam, we've got that. But we always kind of devolve back into a conversation about Gundam somehow.
That's why I enjoy it. Not only do I not have to worry about controlling all the software, but also I can just talk about whatever back in my chair, well, cool. Oh, Neon Wave, you're welcome, Adam. That'll be 54-hour services. Wow, yeah. that it's probably worth it too.
Yeah, not a bad rate, honestly.
Yeah, I know. Well, cool. Well, I guess, thanks everyone, and we will talk next time. See you all.
Cheers, everyone.